What is up, everyone? Welcome back to our lawn and welcome to the beginner lawn care guide. Now what this is intended to be is a complete guide to a single season for someone new to lawn care, so that if that is you and you're trying to figure out what do I do, where do I start, how do I get through the year, this is for you. But if you have been doing it for a while, don't click off, because if you're in the lawn care YouTube space, I think I got a little bit of a different idea and approach and way of doing things than maybe everything else you've seen. I think we're going to be able to save you quite a bit of money, so stick around for you as well. And so what we're doing is we're putting together a complete lawn care guide that for the year is $25 per 1,000 square feet. And when I say per 1,000 square feet, that is step one to all of this. For all of you beginners, we need to know exactly, well, not exactly, we need to know fairly accurately how big your lawn is. And I have a video dedicated entirely to that. There will be a card somewhere. Go check that out. Make sure you know how big your yard is, because we're talking in 1,000 square feet and how much product we need. And so this video is going to be pretty much step one in all seasons, all of the time, unless you are kind of past having a weed control issue or you need to seed something, and that is your pre-emergent herbicide. And I have an in-depth video on pre-emergents, what they are, what they aren't, and how they function. And I'm going to link that in the description as well. You can go watch that if you want a more in-depth talk through on pre-emergence. But for the purposes of this video, it is something that is going to go down into your soil, create a layer where roots cannot develop. And so if you have weed seeds in your yard, crabgrass, predominantly grassy weeds, but really anything that's going to germinate, it will prevent that from rooting and establishing. Now, I see a lot of people get upset with their pre-emergent because it failed because they have weeds still. That's not what a pre-emergent is. If you have broadleaf weeds, if you have perennial weeds, if you have those sorts of things, this isn't going to help you. This is going to prevent future weeds from germinating and taking. To take care of the stuff in the yard, we need post-emergent, and that's going to be the next video. And now I also say, if you're new to lawn care and you're getting into it, it's a good probability that we need to get fertilizer down early in the year. For people in their third, fourth year of maintaining a yard in cool season grass, I highly recommend against fertilizing in the spring. However, if we have a thin yard that we're trying to recover, let's get some fertilizer in there, help it grow aggressively. And we have a product today that we're applying that's going to do both. And that product is Scott's Turf Builder with the Halt's crabgrass preventer. This one has fertilizer built in. So you can either get the Turf Builder with just the Halt's crabgrass that has no fertilizer. So you can see this one has with lawn food, and when we come down here, we have, where is it? We have a nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium percentage in the bag. So we have 30% N in this bag. Then we have the area that it's going to cover and the weight. So we can see we're just a little bit under 3 pounds per thousand in our application rate. And now in this section of my yard here that we're working on, again, this is going to look like a lot of your yards that you're dealing with. I got dandelions. I have a patch of almost exclusively clover down here at my feet. I have bare spots all throughout that have all died off. A great many issues from seasons of neglect that are causing problems. This is step one to making this something that is beautiful, nice, filled in by the fall, without having to seed, without having to aerate, without having to dethatch, without having to do anything. No stupid soil amendments. We're not doing any of that. Cheap, simple, easy, effective. And so I have 4,000 square feet. We only need to cover 5,000 square feet, so I do not need the entire bag. However, I am going to load the entire bag into the spreader. I'm just going to burn a little bit of the extra into some of my landscape beds and into where I have my garden to try to slow down some of the weeds that are getting in there. However, if you have a smaller yard or you don't have somewhere else to go with the extra product, we're going to take, I like using a kitchen scale and an old coffee ground container and load up whatever that coffee ground container will hold. Again, if I'm doing 4,000 square feet of this product at a little bit, at about 2 3/4 pound, that's math is hard, so I'm going to put the math on the screen next to me. But that's the amount of product in pounds that I would weigh out, put in the spreader, and then I need to distribute that evenly over the entire area of my yard. And so when we do applications, and I'll have video of this, and what I'm trying to do is I am trying to throw fertilizer back to where my wheel tracks were in the previous past. And we're gonna do that until we're done. Again, we've covered the whole area. And again, the question's gonna be, what's the spreader setting? I don't know. I know in this spreader, if I go low enough, most products, I'm gonna be around 2-3 pounds per thousand, but really I wanna set it low, have it coming out slowly. And if I need to go over twice, I go over twice. Second time we make the necessary adjustment. And you can also kind of tell after you've done this long enough about what that spreader setting is gonna be. And so there we are, one pass. It's probably a little bit more than half the bag. So I'm actually going to turn my spreader setting down a little bit, go over it one more time. And there we go, about as easy as it gets. Applied exactly the right amount over the 4,000 square feet. Had a little over like a pound or two left in the hopper. Sent that into some of my landscape beds and some other places that I wanted to get that pre-emergent down and at least use it somewhere. Is it going to be effective how I applied it? Probably not, but that's okay. So the next things that we want to do is we want to get, first of all, I got thrown onto the driveway. We want to have as small of an environmental impact as we can. So we are going to blow that back into the grass at least so it doesn't just run straight off the concrete. And the other thing is this needs to be watered in. So we need to get at least a quarter, ideally a half inch of water. If you have irrigation, an easy way to water it in immediately after, that's great. If not, I'm going to wait for the next rainfall and it will be just fine. Last thing there is to know is the application timing of this. And for us in cool season land where we have a winter where it snows and nothing grows, is it's going to be that single application at the application rate on the bag that we discussed. And we're going to try to do that somewhere in the realm of when soil temperatures reach 50 to 55 degrees. And there's a couple different services online you can use to find that out, or you can sully a meat thermometer by sticking it in the ground, or you can buy a specific turf thermometer. I use Syngenta's soil temperature tool. It gives a 5-day average, a current temperature, 24-hour average, all the data you'd ever need to be able to time that application. I would say generally if I was going to have you err on too early or too late, I'd err a little bit early, but understand that soil temps will touch 50 every so often in, say, here in southeastern Wisconsin, and as early as March, but they're not going to sustain there for any amount of time until really late April, early May. That's going to generally be the window for this part of the world. A little bit earlier the further south you go, a little bit later the further north you go. Adjust as necessary. And that is all there is to it. Thank you as always so much for watching. Next video in this series is going to be how we do the post-emergent, the second half of this weed control process, which is going to be applying our Spectricide weed killer to that area to get rid of some of the weeds that have already germinated and already exist in there. I'm going to blow the driveway off. Subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along to this series or anything we're doing on the putting green, anything we're doing here in our lawn. Like the video if it was helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.